Hello everyone and welcome back to the Great Book of Grudges. My name is Nathan and today we're going to do some speculation because it's been a while and I kind of miss doing these types of videos. But anyways, we've had a loading screen pop up into the attention of the fan base lately. Some say it's new, others say it's not. I don't really recall seeing this before. I usually read over all of them because we do know that the loading screens can sometimes have hints. This is actually something confirmed by Creative Assembly. But yeah, this is the loading screen. Let's just read over it right now. What an interesting anomaly. The details of the coastline suggest an inlet along this stretch. Perhaps we could land there and I could map out the interior. Anonymous cartographer. So, this is pretty interesting because it could mean a few different things. Obviously first, an anonymous cartographer is pretty much just a insert from Creative Assembly. This is hinting towards the future, and yeah, it just kind of makes sense because, yeah, they're trying to hype up the game, they're trying to keep the hype alive. But what is this specifically talking about? Well, it's pretty simple. This could be focusing around either or IND and KHURESH, two landmasses that we currently have in-game at the moment, but do not have access to travel and stuff. So this is IND and KHURESH without the fog of war, so I do apologize if it does get a little bit framey as, well, you know, it's loading in everything from the game, so yeah, this can happen at one go. But these territories are pretty much mapped out in the coastlines, there's just nothing there. It's rather curious because obviously we're all expecting IND and KHURESH in the future, seeing as both IND and KHURESH have been getting new lore through the form of Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay. Not a lot, but very basic amounts. And, well, you know, if they want to keep the hype going for years and years, as they've said, it does make sense to eventually add IND and KHURESH. IND being a human nation ruled by living gods, and KHURESH being the home of the Snake Men. You've already got the real historical things to it because IND is focused on India and KHURESH is focused on Southeast Asia. Also, keep in mind that a long time ago, Creative Assembly actually confirmed that landmasses were going to open up in the future. This was in the run-up to Immortal Empires, and it kind of makes sense considering that these are the last landmasses. There's a few more, but we'll talk about them a little bit later, when the time comes in their own video, really. Anyways, you can already see that there's some basic texturing, not just in the borders, but inside. It's probably that they were already kind of testing where some settlements would go, just in the eventuality should we start to get IND and KHURESH. Now, it's not going to be anytime soon. I doubt that we'll get either IND or KHURESH within this year. Well, we're not getting it this year because the year's about to end. We're not getting it next year, that's for sure, because we're likely going to get Chaos Dwarfs, and I think they're going to keep to a one race pack per year thing. Hell, maybe even a year and a half, but I do believe that we will get races a little bit quicker, and this is my reasoning. Obviously, we have to take into account that there's some empty slots when picking out some races. Some people said that this was more an aesthetic thing, but I believe there's something more to it, as races do make a lot of money. They sell it for more than a basic Lord pack because, you know, it's an almost complete roster. You know, there's other stuff like, for example, 4 legendary lords. It'll hype up people more than a Lord pack, as, say, for example, a Lord pack gets introduced for Cafe. Maybe you're not interested in Cafe, but when it comes to a completely new race, people tend to be a bit more hyped. The fan base knows this, Creative Assembly knows this, and Games Workshop is surely aware of this too. It's also important to note that Games Workshop fit into this equation too. Warhammer the Old World is getting more and more rumors that it's going to be next year, and it kind of makes sense given that it's the 40th anniversary of Warhammer Fantasy. Now, this doesn't mean that we're going to see IND and KHURESH at the very beginning. However, you have to take into account that more than likely, given that artwork is coming back that is very old school, traditional of the old miniatures, we're going to see a lot of the old minis coming back. That is until they get updates and new rotations, and, you know, Games Workshop specifically said they want people to use their old miniatures too. That's a bit of a, oh, we're not getting a lot of new stuff, which is actually a bit of a good thing. With Cafe and Kislev confirmed, new races are going to bring new money. It's not just for new people coming into the hobby, but the old guard will be much more interested in new races and factions. Why am I, say me exactly, going to buy new Skaven miniatures when I already have, like, way too many Skaven miniatures? Or Orcs and Goblins, or Tomb Kings. I want to buy new stuff. Kislev and Cafe already have me the most interested, and new races, especially since we got new lore, like for example the Dreadbore being moved to KHURESH in Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay this year. This is a really big thing, because originally it was a creature of chaos, or at least that's what everyone thought, and now it's part of KHURESH, meaning that they've already got mind of what big creatures should be in KHURESH. IND being essentially the creators of the Doom rocket, so yes, nuclear Gandhi is a thing in Warhammer lore now. This is really interesting, and it can provide for good context. You know, Doom rockets weren't a miniature on the tabletop, they were more of a special item that had a special rule, which was a large blast template, so that could easily be translated without too much of an issue. This all makes me excited because if it happens for Warhammer Fantasy, it will happen for Total War. There's one thing people seem to be forgetting too. When Cafe was confirmed for Warhammer the Old World, something that was done in cross-promotion with Warhammer 3, you didn't really get a full map of Cafe, which is very, very curious. This is the thing, right? If we look at it, it's mostly just the northern provinces, isn't it? Now, that might sound not too interesting, but think about it this way. Anytime they've confirmed the race, they've done the full country, where they're from, Bretonia, or when it started going into the heavy details of the Empire. Only recently did they not do that again when it came to confirming 3 races at once, which was the Dwarfs, the Orcs, and the Tomb Kings. But that makes sense because it's not a direct focus article on them, it was just, oh, these guys are coming. Yet the focus article on Cafe was just a little bit of Cafe, which already had some hints towards the Hobgoblin Incarnate, which we're already expecting anyway, but I believe the reason why they didn't go further down south was because at that point we'd start to see hints of IND and KHURESH, city names maybe, or just a little bit of new artwork, which, yeah, would outright confirm the race, so they've decided, let's hold off until the time is right. GW never like to confirm anything outright unless something is getting very, very close. The reason why Hobgoblins are getting confirmation now is because we know Hobgoblins are going to get very soon revealed for Age of Sigmar, and more than likely by that time we'll also have the reveal for the Chaos Dwarfs and Hobgoblin stuff for Total War Warhammer. Cross-promotion works very well, Creative Assembly and Games Workshop both know that. Now, I could be wrong, but all this seems to line up with how previous stuff has worked with Games Workshop, with Creative Assembly, just in general both, so I'm pretty excited. I really do believe IND and KHURESH will come. It might take some time, but hey, better late than never. And I imagine that Warhammer 3 will get support for a long time, mostly because we'll start to see a lot of cross-promotion with Warhammer the Old World as new stuff comes in. Games Workshop is slow, yes, but they can be quick when they know that money is there. This is the thing, if we're going to get IND and KHURESH announced officially, it needs to also be announced by Games Workshop, which means that they have to start preparing up at least basic concepts of what they want from the race. Some stuff already exists from previous editions, because that's kind of known that they had some sort of plan, but I do think it's coming. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Let's start a bit of discussion, and until then, I'll see you all again very, very soon. Have a good day. It's actually kind of nice to be back into some speculation content.